Good afternoon, students. So, in yesterday's class, is there any doubt? Yes. In yesterday's class, is there any doubt? So, yesterday we were doing this meter bridge, right? So, I guess the setup is clear to everyone. I guess this setup is clear to everyone. Yes. Or is there anyone who didn't understand this setup? Ask now itself, because now I'm going to start the experiment. Okay. I'm going to take the theory portion of this. If anybody is having any doubt, you just ask. This is a very important topic. You can expect one question from this. Okay. So if you have any doubt, don't keep it. Just ask now itself. Okay. So just let me know in this Wheatstone bridge, this meter bridge. Okay. This is the setup in front of you, and you have this Wheatstone bridge also. Okay. This is the setup here. This is the setup here, and this is the meter bridge. Okay. And now in this, can you tell me that how many resistors are there? Can you tell me how many resistors are there? Yes. Can you tell me how many resistors are there? 4 or 5? How many resistors you can see? Yes. How many resistors are there? So there are total 5 resistors. Fine. So in Wheatstone bridge, and meter bridge, okay, and in meter bridge, how many resistors should be there? 5 resistors. Okay, 5 resistors. Now, I have already told you to draw this figure. Okay, so just see this figure. Okay, now if you remember that Wheatstone bridge, okay, if you can remember that Wheatstone bridge, so it is somewhat like this. Yes or no? It is somewhat like this. Now, here in meter bridge, what I can say is that RB, okay, this RB is one resistor. Okay, so first let me name this. So this is P, Q, R and S. Okay, P, Q, R and S, and this is W. Now RB is P. Okay, you just try to compare these two. So RB is nothing but P. Okay, not R. RB is P. Okay, there what you have is R unknown, that is R suffix UK. It is here R, capital R. Okay, now instead of W, what you can see? Instead of W, what you can see? Yes, instead of W, what you can see? Just check. Instead of W, do we have G? Do we have galvanometer? Yes. Do we have galvanometer? Yes. So instead of W, we are having galvanometer. Instead of Q and S, what do we have? Wire. Okay. Wire here also and wire here also. What is the length of this wire? L. What is the length of this wire? This is 100 minus L. And why we are saying that? Because resistance is directly proportional to L. So rho L by A. So rho is a constant area. Cross-sectional area is also constant throughout the wire. So resistance will be directly proportional to the length here. Resistance will be directly proportional to the length here. So this wire, okay, this wire from here to here, this wire from here to here, okay, this is one wire, this is one, okay, this is one complete resistor, okay, and then after this we are having this resistor, okay. So this is the second resistor. Understood? So I'm having two resistors here now. One resistor is this, okay, one resistor is this, one resistor is this red one, and the another one is this, okay, and the another one is this. So these are two resistors. So total 5 resistor we see in meter bridge also now. Understood? Now you just tell me that if resistors are clear to all of you, okay, then if there is no deflection in the galvanometer, okay, if I say, just see here, if no deflection in galvanometer, what does it mean? Is current passing or not? If there is no deflection in galvanometer, okay, what can you say about the current? What can you say about the current? Yes, is the current passing or not? No, the current is not passing through galvanometer. So what I can say, no current through galvanometer, okay. So no current through galvanometer. If there is no current through the galvanometer, okay, if there is no current through the galvanometer, so can I say that the potential is same? Yes, potential of this point, the potential of this point, suppose this point I am taking as G, small g, A, B, C, D. Let us take that as D, okay, and let us take this point as C. Okay, let us take that point as C. Okay, so the potential of D and C will be what? Same. Okay, so potential of, so I can say this means potential of C and D are same. Okay, if there is no deflection in the galvanometer, what you will do actually, what you will do, just see here, you will just take the jockey, okay, you will just take the jockey and you will slide it, okay, you will just take the jockey and you will slide it, you will slide like this, you will slide like this, okay, can you see this? Yes, can you see this? Like this you will be sliding, you can slide this jockey over this wire, okay, and while you are sliding this jockey, okay, while you are sliding this jockey, okay, while you are sliding this jockey over here, this, so what will happen at one point, suppose at this point, what will happen? Suppose at this point, what is going to happen? This galvanometer will not have any deflection. This galvanometer will not have any deflection. Why? Because as you move like this, so what will happen? The galvanometer, it will show some deflection. If you move like this, so what will happen? The galvanometer will show some other deflection. So what you have to do, if you put at A, if you put at A, so you can see that galvanometer may deflect at this end, okay. If you are at this end, so the same galvanometer will point you at this end. Understood? So if you are at A, your jockey is at A, so you will have this reading. If your pointer is here, if your jockey is here, so you will be having this, okay. So this is actually A and this is actually B. Now somewhere in between, okay, it depends upon what values of resistances you have chosen. So somewhere in between this, what will happen? there will be no deflection in galvanometer. There will be no deflection in the galvanometer, and that point we are taking as L and 100 minus L. That point we are taking as L and 100 minus L. Fine. Now, so if there is no deflection, that point we are choosing where there is no deflection in the galvanometer, so there is no current, because if there is a current through the galvanometer, there will be deflection. And if there is no deflection in the galvanometer, so what happens? There is no current, I can say. Fine. Then potential of C and D, the potential of point C and D are same. Okay. The potential of point C and D are same. Understood? So this is what we can say now. So using Wheatstone bridge principle, okay. So what I can say now, using Wheatstone bridge principle, okay, what I can write, just tell me what I can write. Yes, what I can write using Wheatstone bridge principle, can I write it as RK? RK I am taking as known resistance from resistance box, okay. RK divided by L, okay, is equals to RUK divided by 100 minus L, okay. So from here I can calculate unknown resistance value as 100 minus L by L into RK. So this is what I can do now. Okay, this is what I can write. So this is our value for the unknown resistor. This is the value of our unknown resistor. Okay, do you understand this now? Okay, so let us solve one numerical here now. Let us solve one numerical. Okay, let us do one numerical on this. Hello, sir, just make me host, sir. Who is the coordinator? Just tell him. Okay, I'm not able to chat this, see the chat. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. So let us do one problem on this now. Okay. Yeah. This is the first problem. In front of your screen, you have the first problem. We have to find out R. Okay. We have to find out R. This R is unknown. This R is an unknown resistor. Okay. This R is an unknown resistor. We have to find out that value. Okay. We have to find out that value. So just see, we have a resistance of 20 ohm. Okay. That is known to us. That will be taken from the box. Okay. Then we have an unknown resistance R. Okay. Then we have 40 centimeter of length and then 60 centimeter. We have external resistor 10 ohm that is not required here, and then we have a EMF 100. Now you have to find out R. So just think a little bit about this. Then I'm going to solve this. Okay. Okay, now see here what you will be doing with this jockey. Okay, with this jockey, what you'll be having, you will be having this kind of wire. Okay, so with this wire, what you will do, you will just slide it like this. You will just slide it like this. Okay, and then at certain point, okay, at certain point, what will happen? At certain point, what will happen? There will be no null deflection. Okay, so you will be just moving your slider like this, and you will see that at this point, what happens? There is null deflection. Okay, there is null deflection in the galvanometer. So what I'm assuming, that at a C point, let us call this point as C. Okay, at a point C, at a point C, okay, at a point C, null deflection, okay, or no deflection in galvanometer, no deflection in galvanometer. Okay, what I can write? P by Q is equals to R by S. Using this, I can write 20 by, yes, 20 by 40, okay, is equals to R is unknown to me divided by 60. Fine. So this will become 2, this will become 30. So R becomes now 30 ohms. R becomes now 30 ohms. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone? Okay. Now, just see this next question. Just see this next question. Hello, sir. Okay. Now, just see the second question. So the second question says, find the length of AC. Okay. You're supposed to find out the length of AC at null deflection in galvanometer. So that means when the jockey, when this jockey, okay, when this jockey is at C, when this jockey is at C, okay, so there is a null deflection here. Okay, so there is a null deflection at C point. Now you have to find out the length. So you have to determine this length. Okay, you have to determine this length L. Understood? So let us do it now. So at null deflection, what you can write? Yes, at null deflection, at null deflection, okay, at null deflection, what you can write now, using this Wheatstone bridge concept, that P by Q will be is equals to what? R by S. Okay, up and down, you have to remember that. Okay, so here what I can write, 5 by L. Okay, I'm assuming that length that has to be determined as L is equals to, the next resistance is 2 divided by 75 minus L. I can use, because one length is L, so the another length, this remaining length will be 75 minus L. Okay, this one will be 75 minus L. Okay, now, so if I solve this, okay, if you solve this, so what you will be having, 75 into 5 minus 5L is equals to 2L. Okay, this becomes now 7L is equals to 75 into 5. Okay, you are supposed to just solve for L now. Okay, you are just supposed to solve for L, and that will be the answer. Okay, so I'm leaving this calculation as an exercise for you. Fine, I'm leaving this calculation as an exercise for you. So you just see this problem. Just see this problem. I'm leaving this as an exercise for you. Okay. Now, the next question, let us see. So in this question, it is saying that if radius of wire is doubled, that means AB wire. Okay. Radius of wire is doubled means for the wire AB, it is saying. If the radius of wire is doubled, that means it is talking about wire AB. Wire AB. Okay, wire AB it is talking of. Then the new value of X will be. Then the new value of X will be. So actually I should give you the options for this. Suppose if I'm giving you increases, B decreases, okay, the value of X will increase, the value of X will decrease, C constant, okay, or D if I say can increase or can decrease, okay, or I can say first increases then decreases, or first decreases or then increases. Okay, so I'm writing any option you can have. You can also have none. Okay, so in this the correct option is C. The correct option is C. Why? Let us see now. See, nowhere we have been told for this wire, that this is a non-uniform cross section. Okay, so if nothing is given, okay, if nothing is given, what you will assume that the wire is of uniform cross section. Okay, so I'm writing it that point over here. If nothing is stated, if nothing is told, okay, so always assume that wire is of uniform cross section. Wire is of uniform cross section. This wire will be of uniform cross section. Understood? This wire will be of uniform cross section. Now, if it is of uniform cross section, so R will be, this is resistance, okay? R will be rho L by A, Now, we have already seen that rho is a material property. Rho is a material property where A is the cross-sectional area and L is the length of the wire. Now, because rho is the material property, so this complete wire AB is made up of a same material. So rho is a constant without any doubt. Rho is a constant without any doubt. Now, what about area? If I manufacture a wire, or if I take a wire, if I make use of a wire which is of constant cross section, okay, so if I make use of a wire which is of constant cross section, that means I can say that this complete quantity rho by A, this complete quantity rho by A is a constant. Okay, rho by A is a constant now. So let us say this is some K value. Okay, so resistance I can write as K into L. Okay, now this resistance depends on what? Length of the wire. Okay, so here actually you are doubling the radius. So if you are doubling the radius, what will happen? It is not going to affect the X. It is not going to affect the length, because resistance will now only depend upon length. It will not depend upon area, because you have taken a uniform cross sectional area. Understood? So what you can write for this now, that it would remain same. Okay, balancing length is independent of the radius of wire. Okay, so what I can say, that value of X is independent of radius, of wire. Okay, now saying this does not means that always it will be independent of radius. Always this will be independent of radius. No, you cannot say like that. You can also have a question, okay, where you may be given a situation like this, okay, where you may be given a situation like this. Just see here, I'm trying to draw the situation over here, okay. You may have a situation like that, okay, where you may have a conical cross section, so you will find these questions in the book, but it is out of your syllabus, okay, okay. These things will not come into NEET, okay. This is for those people who are aiming for JEE or JEE Advanced, okay. These kind of questions does not comes in NEET, okay. So you don't have to worry for that, if area is varying, what will happen, okay. So don't worry about that, okay. So this is the thing, okay. So if radius is changing, area will change, length will remain the same, okay. And if non-uniform cross section is given like this in the question, so it is not part of our study, okay. For NEET especially, this does not comes in NEET, okay. So there's no point of discussion, okay. Now the next setup is potentiometer, okay. So this meter bridge we have completed, done, okay. So there was meter bridge. If you want to summarize it, so it is what, that there are total 5 resistors here. If you can see, there are total 5 resistors, okay. RB is RK, okay, that is known resistance. Then you have R suffix UK, that is an unknown resistor, 2 resistors. Now one resistor is in galvanometer, okay, so that's the third resistor. The fourth resistor is that wire L, okay, of length L, AC wire of length L will be playing a role of another resistor. Then another resistor will be wire CB of length 100 minus L. What is 100 over here? So I have already told you that if nothing is given in the question, so by default you will assume, what you have to assume, that the length of the wire is 100 centimeter, okay. So if you have seen this question, so sometimes you will be given the length of the wire, see here the length of wire was given as 75, here the length of wire was given as 75. So wherever it will be required, you will take the length as what it is given, but where it is not given, you can take the length of the wire as 1 meter or 100 centimeter, okay. Now after this we have to study potentiometer, okay. Okay. So potentiometer is another experimental setup, okay. It is another experimental setup that we will be studying now. So actually this is a device or a setup that is used to measure potential difference, okay, the potential difference. So it is an experimental setup to measure potential difference across two terminals of a circuit with high accuracy. Just see this. This is an important point. With the high accuracy. This is the important point, okay? Because potential difference, if you see the potential difference, voltmeter also measures. Then what is the use of having this potentiometer? Understood? This voltmeter also measures the potential difference only. Potentiometer also measures the potential difference only. Then why we are having two different devices? Okay, because this potentiometer measures the potential difference across two terminals with high accuracy, okay. The accuracy it is having, the voltmeter does not has that, okay. The accuracy this potentiometer has, that voltmeter is not having that accuracy, fine. So potentiometer is used to measure the potential difference across two terminals of the circuit with high accuracy without drawing any current from the source of the measurement, okay. Now let us understand the principle. So potential difference between its 2 points is directly proportional to the length of the wire. How actually we can say that? The potential difference between 2 points is directly proportional to the length of the wire. So actually it is making use of that. If the constant current is flowing, if the same current flows through the wire, so the potential drop will be directly proportional to the resistance. And since resistance is directly proportional to the length, so I can say that V is directly proportional to length. Okay. So from there, it is relating that potential difference with the length of the wire. Okay. So where lambda, okay, this lambda, what proportionality sign we have got, okay, lambda is a proportionality constant, okay, and its value, if you see, so its value will be V by L, okay, V by L, and this is called as potential gradient. This is called as potential gradient. This is called as potential gradient. Understood? Potential gradient means potential per unit length, potential per unit length, or potential gradient alone, you can say. Fine. Now just see the setup. Now just see its setup. Okay. So you will be having this as a main circuit. This will be called as the main circuit. This part is kind of a main circuit, and anything that you have to do, like we can determine the unknown EMF, okay, unknown EMF of the cell or the battery. We can compare two EMFs. We can also find out the internal resistance. Okay, we can also find out the internal resistance. So all those things will be connected here. Okay, all those things will be connected in this circuit here. Okay, all those things will be connected in this circuit. Here you will be having the main circuit. Okay, just see this circuit. Okay, and just check for its elements. What all elements we have connected here? So actually we are having a EMF. We are having a power source, okay, that is EB. Okay, EB. Then we have a variable resistor. Okay. Then a meter connected to it. And then we have a potentiometer wire. So this wire AB is the potentiometer wire. So A to B is the potentiometer wire. Okay. So this bold black color wire line represents potentiometer wire. Okay. Now here actually you will be having a EMF. Here you will be having a EMF. Okay. We will see the arrangements for different experiments. You'll be having a different arrangements. So it is somewhat like that. Okay. Here you will be having a EMF E suppose. So its value you have to determine. Okay. And this is the galvanometer. G is galvanometer. J is jockey. Understood? Now, let us see the first thing in this. Okay. Let us see the first experiment. Actually, you will be having in this 3 experiments. Using potentiometer, you will be having total 3 experiments. Fine. So let us see now the first experiment. Okay. This is the first experiment. So the experiment number 1, what we have to go through is that we have to determine the unknown value of EMF. Okay. We have to determine the unknown value of EMF. So this is the unknown EMF here. This is the unknown EMF. Okay, this is the unknown EMF here. So its value we have to determine. So actually this is the unknown value here. This is the unknown value which we have to determine, and this is the circuit. This will be the circuit that is in front of you. Okay, this is the circuit that is in front of you. Fine. Okay. Now let us start with the finding out the this unknown EMF. Let us start with the finding out the EMF of the cell. Okay. Now, first of all, what we have to do is we have to calculate. First of all, we have to calculate the current that is passing. Okay. First of all, what we have to do is we have to calculate the current that is passing through the potentiometer wire. Okay. Now, this potentiometer wire, if you can see that line, last line here. So resistance in potentiometer wire is AB. Okay. The potentiometer in the wire AB is RP. Okay. Understood? So the potentiometer in the wire AB is sorry, the resistance. The resistance in the potentiometer wire is Rp. Fine. Now we have to see this now circuit. Okay. Now just see here. If this secondary circuit is not connected, okay, only the first circuit is connected. Okay. So what I'm trying to say, is that if the switch S is open, so the current will only flow in the upper circuit. Okay, so I'm writing that if S is open, what is going to happen now? What is going to happen if S is open? Then what will happen? The current flows in upper part of circuit only. Okay, current flows in upper part of circuit. Okay, it flows in the upper part of the circuit only. Fine. Now, what will be the value of current? The current only flows in this. Okay, like this, the current will be flowing. This will be the direction of current. Okay, I. So how can I determine the value of I now? Yes. How you will write I? So I you can write as EB. Okay. Okay. Then RH. RH is the unknown. This one, this resistor, external resistor. Okay. RH is the external resistor. Fine. Plus RP. Where RP is what? RP is the resistance of the potentiometer wire. Okay. So this will be the current value. Okay. This will be the current value. So this much amount of current actually flows. In the upper part of the circuit when S is open. Okay. Now in this only, if I want to find out the potential difference across wire AB. Okay. Potential difference across wire AB. Okay. So what you will be writing? VAB. So how you will write? The current flowing through the wire into resistance. So the resistance of the potentiometer wire AB is RP. So I into RP. What is the value of I now? We have already calculated it. Yes, we have already calculated that. What is the value of I now? So if I write it, so I'll be writing it as EB, okay, divided by RH plus RP into RP. Okay, this is the way you will be writing. This is the way we will be writing it. Okay. Now, we have calculated the potential difference across the wire. Okay, we have calculated the potential difference across the wire. We have calculated the current also. Okay. Now, what will be potential difference per unit length of the wire? What will be potential difference, okay, per unit length of the wire? Okay, potential difference per unit length of the wire. So this lambda will be, okay, what is lambda here? Just see here. I told you here now, V by L. V is the potential difference across A and B, and L was the length here. So potential gradient or potential per unit length I can say. Fine. So potential difference per unit length of wire AB, okay, is lambda, or I can say this as potential gradient, or I can say it as potential gradient. Okay, so this is now lambda. Okay, this is lambda. So lambda will be is equals to VAB divided by length of the wire AB is L, suppose. Okay, the length of the wire is L. Okay, now what is VAB now? VAB is I into RP divided by L, and this is lambda. Okay, understood this point? Now we know the value of I. Okay, we know the value of I. We know the value RP will be given to you, or you can calculate that, and L you can take the length. Okay, using the scale. Okay, using the scale you can take the length. Okay, so this is one equation now. This will be the one equation. Okay, now what we have to do, now what you have to do is just assume that you are now connecting, now you are connecting the wire, now you are connecting the switch actually. Okay, now you connect the switch, now the switch is closed. So if the second thing, if switch S is closed, if switch S is closed, okay, so if switch S is closed, what will happen? If switch S is closed, what is going to happen? Now the current will flow in that circuit also. Now the current is going to flow in that circuit also. Okay, now the current will flow in that circuit also. Yes or no? Yes. Now the current will flow in that circuit also. Okay, so if the current is flowing into that circuit, if the current will flow in that circuit, so now just see what will happen. Now just try to see what will happen. You have to drag the jockey like this. You have to drag the jockey like this. Okay, like this you have to drag the jockey, like you have done in the meter bridge. Okay, like you have done in the meter bridge. Here also you have to, drag the jockey now. Okay, so while you are dragging the jockey, okay, while you are dragging the jockey, so what will you see that at one point, okay, at one point in somewhere in between, okay, at one point somewhere in between here, okay, so somewhere here, what you are seeing that there is no deflection in G, that is in galvanometer. Okay, so let us assume that point to be a C. Okay, let us assume that this point is some C point. Okay, so what we can say, at point C, what do you see? Null deflection. When you say null deflection, that means there is no deflection in the galvanometer. Okay, null deflection in G. And what is G? Galvanometer. Okay, there is null deflection in the galvanometer. Fine, there is null deflection in the galvanometer. Okay, so if there is null deflection in the galvanometer, so that means there is no current flowing. That means there is no current flowing. Understood? That means there is no current flowing. And if no current is flowing, okay, if no current is flowing, that means the potential drop across AC, the potential drop across AC, okay, will be equal to what? Will be equal to what? EMF of the battery. EMF of the battery. Okay. So what I can say here, if no current, if no current flows in, if no current flows through, if no current flows through G, okay, this implies what? This implies what? In lower circuit, okay, VAC will be equal to EU. If the potential difference is same, then what will happen? There will be no current. That is what we wanted, na? We wanted to find out, okay, the value of EUK, okay, unknown EMF. And how we can do that? We will first get the null deflection point, and we got the null deflection point AC length. Okay, now suppose this length of the wire is L. Suppose this length of the wire is L here. Okay, the AC length is L. Now, just now we have seen that VAB by capital L we have assumed as lambda. So now if we want to find out VAC, then what we will do? Lambda into small l. Okay, this is the normal unitary method calculation. Okay, normal unitary method calculation you have. Okay, so you should know all these things. Unitary method calculation. Okay, so VAC we have to find out. So VAC, what I can do, lambda into L will be is equals to EU. Okay, lambda value we have already calculated. Lambda value we have already calculated. This length L you will measure from the scale during the experiment, and then you can say that yes, this is the EMF of the battery. Yes, this is the EMF of the battery. Okay, this is how we find out the unknown value of EMF. This is how we find out the unknown value of the EMF. Okay, fine. So what you can say now, so the unknown EMF, so the unknown EMF is E unknown will be is equals to lambda into L. Okay, so this is the result. So this is the result now. Okay, this is the result. Fine. So there are so many questions. So there are so many questions on this concept. There are so many questions on this concept that have been asked to you in the exam. Okay, both board also, NEET also, as well as in JEE also. Okay, there are so many questions that have been asked on this. So make sure that you don't miss anything. Make sure that you don't miss anything in this. Okay. Now we are going to do one sum on this. Okay, we are going to do one problem. So before doing that, let us complete one more experiment. Let us complete one more experiment, and then we will go on to the problems. Okay, let us complete one more. There were 3 experiments. So one we have already completed, one we will do, and that last one we will be doing in the next class. Okay, now. So just let us see the second experiment here. So this experiment, okay, this experiment is about the comparison of 2 EMFs using potentiometer. Okay, so first what we can do using the potentiometer, we can find out the unknown EMF. Okay, we can find out the unknown EMF. Fine. Suppose if I give you a battery and tell you that you tell me the EMF of this. So using the first experiment, you can tell me, yes sir, that this is of 2 volt. Yes sir, this is of 5 volt. Like that you can tell me. Understood? Now, the second experiment is about that if I give you 2 EMFs, suppose if I'm giving you 2 cell, 2 battery, and I ask you that just compare these two. Comparison means I'm not asking you the values. I am not asking you the values that which one is having what volt. Okay, that we can do later on. I'm just interested in calculating the value that which one is greater and which one is smaller. Okay, which one is having greater EMF and which one is having smaller EMF. We can calculate individual EMFs using the first experiment. Okay, we can calculate the individual EMFs using the first experiment. Okay, and then we can calculate the we can compare these two cells. Okay, so let us do this also. Okay, so just see the circuit over here. So the aim of this experiment will be to compare the 2 EMFs using potentiometer. Okay, now if you see the first main circuit, this part of the circuit is same as the previous one. This part of the circuit is same as the previous one. Okay, you are having a battery eliminator. Okay, then you are having rheostat. Okay, then you are having a emitter. Okay, then you are having a emitter. Then instead of having one EMF, now you are having 2 EMFs because you have to compare these two. Okay, now let us start the experiment. Okay, so first what you have to do, connect. Okay, suppose this is point 1. Okay, suppose this is 0.1. I'm assuming that point to be as 0.1. Okay, so first what we are doing, connect point 1, connect point 1. Okay, that is galvanometer, so connect galvanometer with E1. So first of all, what we are doing, we are connecting this galvanometer with the first battery. Okay, that means the connection established is like this. The connection established is like this. Okay, now when you have connected it, okay, you just take the null deflection. Just go for the null deflection. Okay, so null point corresponding to E1 you will get. Okay, so you will get null point. Okay, null point with respect to EMF E1. Okay, corresponding to this you will get. So suppose you will get a value lambda into L1. Okay, because what you have to do, you have to again do the same thing what you have done in the experiment 1. You'll connect this. Okay, this switch will be also connected, this switch will be also connected, and then you will be connecting it here. So now what you will do, using this jockey, you'll just drag this jockey over this wire, potentiometer wire. You'll drag it like this. Okay, now at this point, while you are dragging like this, so what you will find that at this point, okay, at this point you are having null deflection. Null deflection means you will be having 0 pointed over here. Okay, this side will be one deflection, this side will be one deflection. So when it deflects this side, that means it is towards A. When it deflects on this side, then this is at point B. And when it is at 0, that means it is the no current situation, no current flowing through the galvanometer. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to just drag the jockey like this, and at a point at this point. Okay, at this point, so let us name that point as C. So at this point C, while you're dragging the point C, what will happen? You will have null deflection. Okay, so that is null deflection you have got at point C. Okay, so null point with respect to EMF E is equals to lambda L1. So null point is at C, at point C. Okay, at point C. Fine. So this is corresponding to E1 now. So let us call this as equation 1. Let us call this as equation 1. Okay. Now the same thing you have to do. That means you have to connect a point 1 with E2 now. We have to connect now this point with E2. Okay. Now you will connect this one with E2. Here. Here you will connect. Okay. You will be connecting it with this now. So now when you are doing this, so you have to find out the null point with respect to E2. So null point, you have to find out null point with respect to EMF E2. And then you will be having lambda L2. Okay. So this will be not at C, this will be not at C. So suppose this is at some point here. This is suppose at D. Okay, this is suppose at D. So this is suppose at D, at point D. Obviously, if they are having two different EMFs, you will not be having at same point. You will not be having at the same point, it will be at the two different points. So this is point 2 now. So while comparison, what I can do, we can make E1 by E2 is equals to lambda gets cancelled, L1 by L2. So this is the final result. This is the final result what we have. Okay, this is the final result what we are having. Okay, so this is the way how we are going to compare two EMFs. This is the way how we are going to compare the two EMFs. Okay, so now what we are going to, now what I'll do, I'll just put the slides on your screen quickly. Okay, so take down the slides and go through this again. Okay, so tomorrow one more experiment is there regarding potentiometer. We will complete that, and tomorrow we'll do only the question of potentiometer and meter bridge. Okay, We will only solve the questions of meter bridge and potentiometer tomorrow. One more experiment is there. Okay. So tomorrow, don't miss the lecture. Okay. And when all of you come tomorrow, just go through the theory portion of meter bridge and potentiometer once again. Okay. So quickly take down the slides. Quickly take down the slides. Questions will be doing tomorrow. So this is meter bridge. We started from the meter bridge. So start taking from this. Okay. Do it fast. Done. So remember that meter bridge and Wheatstone bridge, there are not 4 resistances, there are 5 resistances. Okay. There are not 4 resistance. They are having these both potentiometer and this meter bridge as well as Wheatstone bridge. They both will be having 5 resistances. Okay. Not 4 resistance. One galvanometer in meter bridge is also acting as a resistor only. Okay. Galvanometer in meter bridge is also acting as a resistor only. Okay. So don't forget that point. Don't think that only the resistance from resistance box, the unknown resistor, and the 2 different lengths of the wire will be resistance. Okay. Galvanometer is also a resistor there. Take this like that. See this final result, whatever I have written, no need of remembering this. Okay. No need of remembering this. Okay. Don't sit and start learning this by hearting this. No, don't do this. Okay. You just remember the Wheatstone bridge principle. You can calculate it. Okay. No need of remembering, no need of by hearting anything in this. Don't sit and start learning this that 100 minus L by L into known resistance is your value. Okay. When you solve 2-3 questions, eventually it will go into your mind. Okay. No need of separately doing anything, making any extra effort for that. Just solve 2 to 3 questions. Definitely it will go in your head. Okay. So don't sit and start learning all these things. Just remember the Wheatstone bridge principle. That's it. Then after this was the question we had done. Done. So this line, what I have written here, value of x is independent of radius, okay, of wire. So this is not, this is for this question only, okay. This is a separate thing. This complete thing is a separate thing, okay. This is not related to that, okay. Here it is not independent of radius. In this question, it is not independent, okay. In this question, it is not independent of radius. It is depending on the radius, okay. So just I have shown you that yes, it can also depend upon the radius and what will be the situation. So it will be like you'll be having a cone like this, okay, a cone, a conical wire. You can think of, no, you can imagine it. Yes, like this you'll be having, okay. So it will be depending upon the area of cross section also. Okay. So this such questions will not be asked to you people. Don't worry about that. Now this is potentiometer. Done. Okay, done. Then this. Then this is the last experiment. Okay. Okay. So tomorrow we'll do the questions and one more experiment is remaining. So first we'll complete that and then we'll do the questions of potentiometer and meter bridge. Okay. Thank you.